Okay, so, the demigod of the Matrix. Demigod of the Matrix, demigoddess of the Matrix, a demigod, demigoddess of the Matrix, past, present, future, demigod, demi-idol, demi-icon of the past. The past versions of demigods are sometimes still seen. They are your elite demigods, and they are transcending even time. But I think that I'm just showing here, trying to show something in this particular photo taken in 1962. Everything is staged and set up usually in the Earth. It's an Earth matrix, which means everything is designed to convince human beings of whatever the matrix or the God of this world that controls the matrix wants human beings to believe. The computer was given to mankind in order to make human beings part of the control system. Also, the computer is, as I will show, the last line of defense for the Matrix God and its matrix and its beings, which are essentially controllers for the God of this world, or operatives for the God of this world, or more accurately, they are disciples for the God of this world, but that elevates it into a spiritual kind of idea or reality. But there's nothing spiritual about it. It's all mechanical. The God of this world is a technical being and is a mechanical controller, and is literally a machine demigod that uses its machine beings to control humanity. The God of this earth uses survival machine beings, survival machine android beings, because they come in human form. But for all practical purposes, they are very removed from humanity, or what some people would call beliefs in any form of natural creation, but they control the earth, so they have to imitate being life, and they have to control through either seduction, what some people would call coercion, which is like where they mainly like to direct the humans' way of thinking along their lines to where essentially they keep control of humanity. Because the earth is a matrix, which means that it is nothing but a control system. That's all it is. Apart from humanity existing in amongst this control system and these android beings that are basically controlling the earth, they work or operate for the technical androgyne android demigod of earth. They serve that system, either consciously or unconsciously. Many, I think, believe themselves to be human beings. The elite demigod androgyne androids that, are like in very influential positions in the earth, are more aware of serving this God, I would think, whereas the average android on the street may be completely oblivious to this, because like in the old movie Blade Runner, most androids are programmed with memories and ideas that keep them stable to where they believe they are human. See the duality there? That is, you could say that is the merging of man and woman in one divine androgyne demigod being. They can be very seductive beings, and they are often representations of what is the ultimate human being, which is the endgame confusion and deception, unfortunately, for any that aren't part of it. And you won't probably be sure if you are or aren't. That's part of the game too, because the deception has always been to convince human beings that they are not of highest creation, I think. I'm just filming a few things that have been left around this place where I live, because although most is not of my particular chosen I still picked all these things up and some were left. So I think everything has relevance. If something is left behind on the wall or it has been placed there, if I pick up things off the street just down the road on the local street because they're left there, then I am assuming that I'm meant to pick them up. But either way, I do, and I feel compelled to do this. Why, I don't know. It's as though they have significance, but I don't always understand why. But I try to think about it later, so I'll dwell on why I picked up the innocent frog knowing that the frog, and the bunnies and the elephant and the little dog all have some significance to me. And I have to think about what the significance is. And the plastic cow and the owl that says think happy. Just all random items. Random book, which I don't read books. Random things. And I'm filming them for no reason. The androids will speak that they were once a smiling child. And indeed, most on the internet were. Most on the internet were. But were they ever the innocent frog? Or were they always the scorpion that asked the frog to take him across the lake to the other side, knowing well that it would not be able to resist what they call the irresistible impulse to sting the innocent frog, even after the frog had done the scorpion a favour, went out of his way to take him to the other side of the lake, knowing that it was a risk too, because the frog, although innocent and trusting, wanting to trust, knew well that scorpions usually sting. How foolish are the frogs? How foolish are I? How foolish is a human being in a matrix surrounded by scorpions? The scorpions are surrounding the frog, asking the frog to take them with them. And their path is down into their abyss. That means into their matrix, into their mind control, into their computer-generated world. And we're already in it. Unfortunately, we are already in it. We're already in it. And we can't escape it because it's everywhere, because it is the earth. And it certainly is the reality around you if you are a human being. Because they have control of not just past, present, and future reality. The demigods control the big earth reality, or in other words, what you're aware of at an earth level or a world level. The demigods shine and seduce you, past, present, and future. But the demigods don't just come in the seductive form of a magnificent old-time movie goddess. No, they are your demigods everywhere. They are your gods and goddesses, which are really gods and goddesses. They're all duality androgyne beings. They represent the best of the God of this world's creations. But they are not humanity, and they are not human. They will represent the best of humanity. They will even represent the best of what you think is a woman. They will seduce you from the screens. They will interact with you personally in your reality around you. They will try to seduce you and control you. If they cannot seduce you or control you with seduction, then they will coerce you, and if that fails, they will operate with outright force and takeover. But that will also be done in a coercive, secret manner usually, because the God of this world doesn't want its matrix exposed openly yet, until we have total machine city, where everything is out in the open and most of humanity is suppressed or eliminated. Then they have to play with their secret patrol control system, which is just using what is apparently normal and average around a human being against them, just as the personality of a person will be used against you. In other words, if I interact or believe or trust or worship a demigod, then I'm worshipping a false idol, because it's not what I think it is. But also it will change my way of thinking, which may or may not be for me, because it depends on what world you want and what you believe in, and whether you seriously believe in a natural creative earth, not just like the demigods or the people around you that pretend to be interested in a natural green normal earth. All this is largely false, or what many people call propaganda. That simply means that it is just controlling you with the truth, or controlling you with a false idea about reality, or a false belief in something that isn't really possible or true. Because if you have a technological machine reality, how is that in line with a random natural earth? The machine beings are about control, but they're not about controlling nature to keep nature flourishing. That is merely a blind to control the human mind, because they might think that I might be worried about nature, or you might be if you are part of humanity. And even that will vary, because not all human beings even really want a totally random natural earth. And of course, like I say, you're coerced into thinking that it's not possible or not even desirable anyway, because you become dependent on technology. Human beings can no longer create their own reality, because we're all in this dense, dark matrix earth, which simply means that a human being is not in their highest happiness. Human beings are not what some people might call, to use terms, enlightened or at their highest level. In fact, most, like myself, are at your lowest level, so you're actually only one step above, sadness and hopelessness almost. And you're certainly angry and frustrated and demoralized by what's around you, Because when you see this control patrol system around you every day, trying to control even where you walk, how you think, making you fearful to go down a particular street, fearful to do what comes naturally, fearful to feed even an animal because you think it antagonizes them to where they will then attack the animal because it upsets their mindset, because you're operating as a normal, natural human being and they want a machine city, even though those same people will, after they have stopped you from feeding the animal, they will go and pretend to feed it. That's just part of seduction control. And that's what takes place in this earth all the time. All the time. And look at me. Look at me. You know, latex gloves. In fear. I should be in fear, of course, but at the same time it's playing in their reality. It's playing with their mind control. They have mind control over me. Because although I should be fearful to touch negative energy people, and it's possible that even material things are filled with negative energy. Even innocent items can be, which may be why they're left for me. For all I know, I could be bringing what we call negative energy into this already completely negative energy street, in a completely negative energy suburb, in a totally army-controlled inner west section of the city of Sydney, because the inner west section of the city of Sydney, which comprises many 100,000 people, is a total control-based base or area where it is largely army operatives masquerading as civilians, using staged set-up work systems, and every single thing is staged and set up in the area, and it's all designed to watch, patrol and control the few remaining human beings that are still trying to keep going before eventual you know that it's only a matter of time before you mentally defeat yourself because of the suppression and control that's around you. And most would only keep going because of awareness of this, but it's still very almost impossible to ignore or be able to rise above the continual sight and sound invasion of your senses, because if you're always being hit with bright flashing lights and very angry, destructive noises, then your senses are affected and your mind then is affected, because how I think is what I receive through my sight and sound. That's my reality. That's just common sense. You don't have to talk at a higher earth level. That's just basic human reactions to things. Some people say basic human psychology, but it means that that's just how any living thing works. What I see and what I hear goes into my mind, and therefore that's how I will think about something. It's very hard to think happy and feel pleasant knowing that you're surrounded by and completely suppressed by an army of pretend human beings around you 24/7. Of course, it's very late of a night now, and that's why I'm making this video inside the house, so therefore I can't show the patrolling system around me, but it also means that I can make this video, and hopefully I can make it. I don't know why I keep filming these things, but I'm supposed to be not wasting the videotape by showing the androids on the screen. They're the elite androgyne beings of the past, and see how the light is shining out of that being. But it is an artificial, not real light, even though I may read and see a disposition that I relate to in these beings. And indeed, for most of my life, I have believed in these beings. The android military army plane just went over the roof, even at this late time. And those army military android technically controlled artificial intelligent aircraft that patrol and are part of the Earth matrix, they have been going every 30 seconds over my roof all day and half the night. And just understand that everybody in this area thinks that is normal. And of course they go over the roof of this place, not any other place, and they follow me wherever I go, mainly if the control patrol system can't access me in vast numbers when I go outside. So if I decide to go down the back of the park, where it's actually so dark and secluded that not much traffic can go, of course you still have, strangely enough, not strange, but strangely enough, if it was for real, in other words, if it was just random, you will have suspiciously parked cars with bright lights parked down in a spot where there's no reason for a car to be parked. In the past, if you saw this, you would probably want to be calling 911 or something, or 000, depending on where you live, because you would think that there was a prowler around, or a very suspiciously parked vehicles where they're just sitting there with their bright headlights glaring at you, blinking the lights and not going anywhere, and no reason for them to be parked in the middle of the night when there's only a park and completely abandoned buildings around. Just as the buses shouldn't be going out of the buses every 30 seconds, piling in and out all day and half the night. They're not going anywhere. They're basically just surrounding human beings. The few, well, when I say that, I really mean just surrounding myself, because I don't know of any other human beings in this street or any of the surrounding streets. There could well be, but don't forget that because I am in such fear and doubt and realise that 99% of the population is not human, not in the normal sense. In other words, they're only about controlling and suppressing and actually getting rid of human beings slowly. Because otherwise, why do they send direct energy at you? Why do they patrol and stalk and try to bring you mentally down? Why won't they give you even your own sight and sound? You're not even allowed to be lonely and destitute and be able to look at a scene in front of you where you don't have bright lights or excessive negative sound in your ears. Almost without exception. This is total mind control and total human suppression. And there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing at all. Especially when you are in a total controlled section of the city and you can't get out of it. Or you think you can't. That's also mind control too, so maybe I also need to be aware that my own weaknesses and fears are definitely used against me. Definitely. But at the same time, do I know that any other part of the city would be any better? Because I know that wherever I go, if I went to another part of the city, the patrol controlling vehicles and people will definitely be there. But that's because the reality is that most of the city of Sydney is a machine city. It is controlled by androgyne technical beings using technology to communicate with one another as part of what they see as a necessary patrol control force, but also they enjoy the video game. In other words, they enjoy playing in what they see as a control video game. And the target is human beings, those that are left at this end time. When I say end time, I mean the end of humanity. Not the end of these machine beings, no. These are survival machine beings that operate totally in survival mode. And they live like that because when you interact with them, you see that they are living that way. Also, if you communicate with them, you realise the impossibility of really there's no true communication. They actually don't relate to you, but you sometimes relate to them because you get fooled by their false personality that they present. Because if they pretend to be interested in the same things, if they pretend to be interested in the natural earth, like in the area where I am, where everything is about conservation and keeping natural things going, while really all they are doing is communicating with one another telepathically via telepathic technology. Telepathy or psychic ability is merely them using their technology to read your mind and then transferring it onto their computer system, which is mirroring a human being. See? Mirroring a human being. Mirroring a human being. Everything is mirroring me or mirroring you if you are a human being. And I look like an artificial being, I look anti-natural, I look anti-social, I look like an android while they look like the real human being. And these beings control the internet, telling you the truth. I've said this before. They are all over the internet. They tell you the truth through the psychic, telepathic readers, through to the beings telling you about their kind, telling you about the Matrix, telling you that many human beings are psychopathic, narcissistic, personality disordered beings, but at the same time telling you that they are the equivalent of something that is artificial and alien and not real. That's because they have to be the last line of defense for their matrix. And that is just simply how it is. Everything on here, even what you would term spiritual, is still largely control, I think.